Welcome back. This is Jody with Supreme Peace Yoga and Wellness. I'm so glad to be here with you again, beginners. Today we're going to explore our fourth concept or our fourth yama of yoga, which is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is traditionally translated to mean abstinence, and in many of the ancient texts it means abstinence from sex. Most of the ancient yogis were privileged men in Indian societies who would often go into the woods sometimes or live by themselves. And they considered homesteaders or people that had relationships and families as less than. They often saw families, women in particular, as distractions to spiritual development. The way that we translate this and understand this in today's society, however, is not abstinence from sex, but moderation. So, of course, when it comes to sex and all other things, food, spending money, spending our time, spending our energy, finding a way to be moderate in that. Let's take money, for example. If we're miserly and hoard all of our money and we save it and we do nothing with it and we don't share our abundance with others, or we don't allow ourselves to purchase and buy things that bring us joy, that's not a very fun or even a very spiritual place to live from. But at the opposite end of the spectrum, if we're constantly blowing all of our money and we don't have, as my dad used to say, more month at the end of the money, right? If that is where the place that we're living in, that's not a very harmonious place to live in either. And the same is true with food. We don't want to starve and deprive ourselves. And we also don't want to hoard so much food that our body energy feels lacking and we feel lacking. The reason we practice Brahmacharya in yoga is for the reason of our energy. When we practice the middle road or the middle path, it gives us a sense of abundance and a sense of energy. Whereas if we have too much or too little, it tends to bog us down and slow us down. So today I have another journaling exercise for you. I want you to draw just a simple line on a piece of paper. This is too much, too little, and just enough, right in the middle. And on this scale, I would like you to think about different areas of your life. Eating, spiritual practice, finances, time with friends, time with family, any of the hobbies that you enjoy, your spirituality or your religious practices, anything that you love to do, anything that's a part of who you are, work, sleep, all of those things. Begin to put them on the scale and just kind of notice where you are at this moment in time in your life with regards to Brahmacharya or moderation. After you do that, I need you to take a step back, take a deep breath in, and exhale it all out the mouth. And you might have to do that several times. Because as soon as we see this on paper and we see those too muches and not enoughs, right? We begin to formulate in our mind all of those judgments and expectations that we have for ourselves. The reality is, when we feel better, we do better. So when we're feeling better, we can be more moderate. You might even notice from looking at this list that when things aren't going well in life, like you're stressed, you're tired, you're sick, that you have a tendency to either spend more or less money. You have a tendency to eat more or less, or get enough sleep. Um, so do the best you can to release and let go of those judgments and expectations that you hold over yourself. Celebrate the areas where you are practicing Brahmacharya, and then set one teeny tiny goal, one teeny tiny intention for what area you would like to bring more back into balance. And that choice is completely up to you. So maybe the sleep patterns, maybe you haven't been getting enough sleep recently. And so you vow to yourself tonight or tomorrow, whenever the next available time is, that you're going to at least go to bed at a particular hour, and you're going to give yourself permission to relax and be there. If staying asleep is a problem, perhaps you give yourself permission to do something very gentle and relaxing and soothing, that still, gives you a chance to rest in order to get that peace and stillness that you need to bring you back into balance. One thing that's very powerful is sharing your goals in a group. And this group, and I, and Bruce, and Beth are rooting for you. So if you would like to share your intention of the area of your life that you're wanting to bring more into balance and what your tiny little goal is for that, then I invite you to share that in the comments. We'll celebrate and we'll cheer you on. As always, the highest in me honors and sees the highest in you. Namaste.